Lily Martinez stood at the big window of the space station, her eyes wide as she watched the colorful ships move around. She was 12 years old and had never been this far from Earth before. Her small hands pressed against the cold glass as a ship with blue lights passed by. "Lily, don't wander off," her father called. Dr. Alan Martinez was checking their papers one last time. He looked nervous, pulling at his collar again and again. "Is that the Senate building?" Lily asked, pointing at a huge round structure that floated in space. It looked like a giant silver wheel with thin spokes coming out from all sides. "Yes," her father said. "The Galactic Senate, where representatives from over 300 planets meet." He put his hand on her shoulder. "Remember what I told you. This is very serious business. I'm only here to show my research on the Zarian artifact." Lily nodded, but her mind was already somewhere else. She was thinking about the strange puzzle her father had described to her. For 3,000 years, no one had been able to solve it. Not even the smartest aliens with their big brains and advanced computers. A voice came over the speakers. "Earth Shuttle 47, please proceed to Dock 12 for final approach to the Senate Hall." Their small ship moved toward the giant wheel. Lily's stomach felt funny as they passed through a blue light field. The ship landed with a soft bump. Dr. Martinez, a tall bird-like creature, stood waiting for them as the door opened. He had bright purple feathers and a sharp yellow beak. "I am Senator Kraz from Proxima Centauri. I have been sent to bring you to the Senate chamber." Lily stared up at him. He was at least 7 feet tall. The senator looked down at her with his shiny black eyes. "This is my daughter, Lily," Dr. Martinez explained quickly. "There was a problem with my assistant. I had no choice but to bring her." Senator Kraz made a clicking sound with his beak. Children are not typically permitted in Senate proceedings. His feathers ruffled. "But we are already behind schedule. Follow me and keep the small human under control." They walked through long halls with high ceilings. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some had many legs, others floated above the ground. Some were small like mice, others huge like elephants. Lily tried not to stare, but it was hard not to. "The Senate has given you exactly 1 hour to present your findings," Senator Kraz said as they walked. "Many believe this is a waste of time. The Zarian artifact has confused our best minds for thousands of years." "I understand," Dr. Martinez said, "but I believe I've made some progress in understanding its outer layer mechanisms." They reached a pair of giant doors made of something that looked like gold but gave off a soft purple glow. "Your device." Senator Kraz held out a feathered hand. Dr. Martinez handed over a small cube that held all his research. "The artifact itself is already inside," the senator explained. "No one touches it directly except for certified handlers." Lily listened closely. Her father had shown her pictures of the strange metal puzzle. It was about the size of a basketball, covered in moving parts, small holes, and strange symbols. She had always been good at puzzles. Her grandmother gave her a new one every birthday, and she never needed more than a day to solve them. As the doors began to open, Lily felt a strange feeling, like something was pulling her forward. Inside, hundreds of different aliens sat in circles that went up and up like a giant bowl. In the middle was a platform with a glass case. Inside the case, something shiny caught the light. "Remember," her father whispered to her, "stay close to me, don't touch anything, and don't make a sound." Lily nodded, but her eyes were fixed on the object in the glass case. Something about it seemed to call to her. As they walked toward the center of the room, she could feel hundreds of eyes watching them. The human child and her father, about to face the judgment of the Galactic Senate. The Senate chamber was bigger than any room Lily had ever seen. Hundreds of strange beings sat in curved rows that went up and up, almost like a giant bowl turned upside down. The air smelled like a mix of flowers and metal. Lights from many colors shone down from the ceiling, making patterns on the floor. In the middle of the room was a round platform. This was where Lily and her father now stood. Dr. Martinez looked small next to the alien leaders. His hand shook a little as he set up his computer. A large blob-like creature floated forward on a floating chair. It was mostly clear, with blue and green parts moving inside it. "I am Chairperson Sorlax," the creature said. Its voice came from a small box on its chair. "The Senate recognizes Dr. Alan Martinez of Earth. You may begin your presentation on the Solarian artifact." Lily's father stepped forward and cleared his throat. "Thank you, Chairperson Sorlax, and honored members of the Galactic Senate. Today I will share my findings on the ancient puzzle left by the Zarian civilization." As he spoke, a big screen appeared in the air above them. It showed pictures of the puzzle from different sides. Lily watched closely. The puzzle was made of a dark metal that seemed to change color when it moved. It had many small pieces that could slide and turn. "For 3,000 years, her father continued, this artifact has been studied by the best minds in the galaxy. We believe it contains important information about the Zarians, who disappeared without a trace." While her father talked about complex theories and mathematical patterns, Lily noticed something strange. From where she stood, she could see the real artifact in its glass case just a few steps away. The case glowed with a soft blue light. Lily felt a strange pull toward the puzzle. It reminded her of something, but she couldn't remember what. Maybe one of her grandmother's puzzles, or a game she once played. A small beep came from her father's pocket. He quickly checked his message screen and frowned. "Excuse me," he said to the Senate. "I just received urgent information from my research team." While her father talked quietly with an assistant who had appeared at the edge of the platform, Lily took a few steps toward the glass case. No one seemed to notice her. They were all watching her father or looking at the big screen. The puzzle inside the case seemed to glow a little brighter as she got closer. Lily could now see all the small pieces and strange symbols on its surface. Some parts looked like they could turn. Others seemed like they might slide open. The patterns repeat every 7 movements. A tall, thin alien was saying to another. But the sequence always leads to a dead end. Lily studied the puzzle more closely. From her angle, she could see something the others couldn't. A small symbol hidden under one of the moving parts. It looked like an arrow pointing in a certain direction. She remembered a puzzle box her grandmother had given her last year. It had a similar trick, a hidden starting point that you could only see from a certain angle. Without thinking, Lily moved even closer to the case. No one was watching her. Her father was still talking with his assistant, showing him something on his computer. The senators were busy discussing among themselves. The glass case wasn't fully closed. There was a small opening on one side, just big enough for a child's hand to reach through. Lily knew she shouldn't touch it. Her father had told her not to touch anything. But the puzzle seemed to be calling to her. She understood it somehow, in a way she couldn't explain. Just as her father turned back to the Senate, Lily slipped her hand through the opening in the case. Her fingers touched the cool metal of the ancient puzzle. "Lily, no," her father shouted, finally noticing what she was doing. But it was too late. As soon as her fingers touched the puzzle, it began to glow brighter. The room fell silent as everyone turned to look at the small human child who had just broken the most important rule in the Senate. The puzzle made a soft clicking sound under Lily's fingers. And then, to everyone's surprise, it began to move. "Stop that, child!" a voice shouted from somewhere high in the Senate chamber. But no one moved. Everyone watched, frozen in shock, as the ancient puzzle glowed under Lily's small fingers. Dr. Martinez stood with his mouth open, unable to speak. His daughter had just broken the most important rule of the Senate. No one was supposed to touch the Zarian artifact, except for special handlers who wore protective gloves. "Security," Senator Kraz called, his feathers standing straight up in alarm. "Remove the human child at once." A group of tall, strong aliens in silver uniforms started moving toward the platform, but they stopped when Chairperson Sorlax raised a clear tentacle. "Wait," the blob-like alien said. "Look." The puzzle was changing. Small parts that had been stuck for thousands of years were now moving smoothly. Lines of soft blue light appeared on its surface, following the path of Lily's fingers. "Impossible," whispered a six-armed alien sitting near the front. "We tried that sequence 100 times." Lily wasn't thinking about the watching aliens. She wasn't scared of breaking rules or getting in trouble. She was just solving a puzzle, the way she always did. Her fingers moved with confidence, turning one piece, then sliding another. "What is she doing?" Senator Kraz asked, moving closer. "I don't know," Dr. Martins said honestly. He watched his daughter with a mix of fear and wonder. Lily has always been good at puzzles, but this... The artifact made a series of clicking sounds. Then a part of it that had never opened before slid aside, revealing a new layer underneath. A gasp went through the Senate chamber. Even the security guards were now watching with interest. "Record everything," Chairperson Sorlax ordered. "Every movement the child makes must be documented." Cameras floated down from the ceiling, focusing on Lily's hands. The big screen that had shown her father's presentation now showed her fingers as they worked on the puzzle. "This part turns this way," Lily said quietly to herself. "And then this moves here." She wasn't following any plan or formula. She was just doing what felt right, the way she always solved puzzles. When something didn't work, she tried something else. A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes pushed forward. "I am Professor Vex of the Regelian Science Academy," he announced. "We have studied this artifact for 7 generations. The child's methods make no scientific sense. Yet she is progressing," Chairperson Torlax noted. Dr. Martinez had recovered enough to stand beside his daughter. "Lily," he said gently, "can you explain what you're doing?" Lily shrugged, not looking up from the puzzle. "It's like Grandma's star box," she said. "You have to find the pattern. See this symbol here? It matches this one on the other side. They need to line up." The aliens watched in amazement as she continued to work. The puzzle responded to her touch in ways it never had for any scientist or machine. "Why does it work for her?" Senator Kraz demanded. Dr. Martinez thought for a moment. Maybe because she's not trying to analyze it. Children see patterns differently than adults. They don't overthink things. Professor Vex made a huffing sound. "Are you suggesting that a human child can succeed where the greatest minds in the galaxy have failed?" Before Dr. Martinez could answer, the puzzle made a loud click. A new section opened up, revealing a complex pattern of lights inside. "Wow," Lily said, her eyes wide with excitement. "Look at that." The chamber was so quiet now that everyone could hear the small humming sound coming from the artifact. It was waking up after thousands of years of silence. "Continue, child," Chairperson Torlax said, floating closer. "The Senate gives you permission to proceed." Lily nodded and kept working on the puzzle. Her small hands moved quickly and surely over the ancient device. Piece by piece, the artifact was coming to life under her touch. No one in the room looked away. They all knew they were watching something that had never happened before, something that would change history. And at the center of it all was a 12-year-old girl from Earth, just having fun solving a puzzle. The puzzle in Lily's hands was now glowing brightly. New parts were opening that no one had seen before. As she turned one section, a beam of light shot up from the center and formed a picture in the air above them. "Star maps," gasped Professor Vex. "The artifact is projecting star maps." Floating in the air were tiny points of light forming patterns that looked like stars and planets. Some of the aliens in the Senate pointed and whispered to each other, recognizing star systems from their home regions. Lily kept working, her fingers moving smoothly over the puzzle's surface. She didn't understand the star maps or why they were important. She just knew which pieces to move next. "Remarkable," said Senator Valder, a tall alien with skin like tree bark. His people, the Regelians, had studied the artifact longer than anyone. "In just 20 minutes, this human child has gone further than our scientists did in 100 years. Dr. Martinez stood nearby, watching his daughter with pride and amazement. "Lily has always had a special way with puzzles," he explained to the senators around him. Human children sometimes see solutions that adults miss because they don't have fixed ideas about what should or shouldn't work. As he spoke, Lily turned another piece of the puzzle. A new panel slid open, revealing a set of small buttons with strange symbols on them. "Those markings," said Chairperson Sorlax, floating closer. "They appear to be Zolarian writing." The cameras floating around Lily zoomed in to capture every detail. Scholars and scientists from hundreds of worlds would study this recording later. "What do the symbols mean?" Senator Kraz asked. "Unknown," said Professor Vex. "The Zolarian language has never been fully translated. Their civilization disappeared so long ago that almost all knowledge of them was lost." Lily pressed one of the buttons. The star map changed, zooming in on one particular solar system. "That's the Zolarian home system," Professor Vex said excitedly. "We've never been able to confirm its exact location before." Lily pressed another button, and the map changed again. Now it showed a path between stars, like a road through space. Dr. Martinez moved closer to his daughter. "Lily," he asked gently, "how do you know which buttons to press?" Lily shrugged. "I don't really know. It just feels right. See this symbol here? It looks like it goes with this one. And these two are almost the same, except for this small part." "She's recognizing patterns," Dr. Martinez explained to the senators. "Not based on any knowledge of the language, but on the visual relationships between the symbols." As Lily continued to work on the puzzle, the images changed faster. The star maps were joined by strange diagrams and symbols flowing through the air above the Senate floor. "Our recording devices are at maximum capacity," called out a technician from somewhere above. "There's too much information coming too quickly." Senator Valdor stepped forward. "After all this time, the secrets of the Zolarians are finally being revealed, all because of a human child." The puzzle made a series of clicking sounds, then hummed louder. A new section in the center began to turn on its own. Lily watched with wide eyes as the entire artifact started to transform. "It's changing shape," she said, her voice filled with wonder. The puzzle that had been roughly round was now stretching and rearranging itself. Parts folded in while others extended outward. The light it gave off changed from blue to green to purple. "Stand back, child," Professor Vex warned. "We don't know what might happen next." But Lily wasn't afraid. She felt like the puzzle was talking to her somehow, showing her what to do next. "Almost done," she whispered, turning one last piece that had appeared. With a final click, the puzzle settled into its new form. It now looked like a small tower with rings spinning around it. At the very top, a bright point of light began to grow. Everyone in the Senate chamber held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The bright light at the top of the transformed puzzle grew larger. Everyone in the Senate chamber shielded their eyes as the light expanded, then suddenly pulled inward. In its place stood a figure about 3 feet tall, made entirely of light. "A hologram," whispered Professor Vex in amazement. The figure looked almost like a human, but with longer arms and a larger head. Its skin seemed to shimmer with a pattern like flowing water. "A Zolarian," said Chairperson Sorlax. "The first one seen in 3,000 years." The hologram looked around the Senate chamber, then down at Lily. Its mouth moved, making sounds that no one understood. "The universal translators can't process the language," a technician called out. For several minutes, the hologram spoke while computers around the Senate worked to understand the ancient language. Then, suddenly, words in the common galactic language came through the speakers. "The worthy one has been found," the hologram said, looking at Lily. Its voice sounded like music. "After many cycles of waiting, the test has been passed." Senator Kraz stepped forward, his feathers ruffled in confusion. "Test? What test?" The hologram turned to face the bird-like senator. "Before the Zolarian people left this plane of existence, we created puzzles to find those with the right kind of mind. Those who could see beyond the obvious and think in ways that most cannot." Dr. Martinez moved closer to his daughter, putting a protective hand on her shoulder. "Why would you need to find such people?" "To pass on our knowledge," the hologram answered. "The Zarians learned many secrets about the universe, but we knew our time in this form was ending. We wanted to find those who could use our discoveries wisely." Professor Vex stepped forward. "Why did our best scientists fail to solve this puzzle when a human child succeeded? We studied it for generations." The hologram seemed to smile. "The puzzle was designed to be unsolvable by traditional analysis. Your scientists approached it with too many assumptions, too much knowledge. The child approached it with an open mind and the ability to see new patterns." Lily looked up at the glowing figure. "It was just like my grandmother's puzzles," she said. "You have to try different things and see what works." "Exactly," the hologram said. "The greatest discoveries often come from those who look at old problems in new ways." The Senate erupted with voices as hundreds of different species tried to speak at once. Chairperson Sorlax raised several tentacles for silence. "What knowledge do the Zarians wish to share?" the chairperson asked. The hologram waved its hand, and new images appeared in the air: complex machines, star maps, and strange symbols. "The coordinates to our home world, where our greatest library remains," the hologram explained. "Technology to travel between galaxies in days instead of years. Ways to heal diseases thought incurable. Energy sources that never run out." The senators gasped. These were things that could change life throughout the galaxy. "And you would give this knowledge freely?" asked Senator Valder with suspicion. "To those who prove worthy," the hologram said. "As this child has done. The worthy ones understand that knowledge must be used to help, not harm. To build, not destroy." Dr. Martinez looked at his daughter with new understanding. "You mean Lily is the key to accessing this knowledge? She is the first to solve the puzzle," the hologram said. "There are others like her across many species, young minds not limited by convention. They will help bring balance to the use of our knowledge." Senator Kraz flapped his wings in frustration. "Why trust such important discoveries to children?" The hologram's light pulsed gently. "Because children see possibilities where adults see problems. They imagine what could be, not just what is." Lily touched the transformed puzzle again, and new images appeared: beautiful cities, strange plants, and creatures unlike any known in the galaxy. "This was our world," the hologram said. "And this is what we became." The image changed to show beings made of pure energy, no longer bound by physical bodies. The Senate chamber fell silent as everyone realized the truth. The Zarians hadn't gone extinct. They had evolved into something beyond their understanding, and a 12-year-old girl from Earth had just opened the door to their legacy. News of what happened in the Senate spread across the galaxy faster than light speed. Within hours, ships from dozens of worlds were heading toward the Senate station. Everyone wanted to know more about the human child who had solved the ancient puzzle. Dr. Martinez sat in a small meeting room with Lily. They were surrounded by important-looking aliens who all wanted to talk at once. "The Arcturian Science Council requests the child visit our research facilities," said a tall, thin alien with skin that glowed faintly blue. "Impossible," said Senator Kraz. "The Rigelian Empire has first claim to this discovery. The artifact was found in our space." "But it was solved by a human," argued another senator. "Earth should have primary access to the Zarian knowledge." Lily sipped a sweet drink someone had given her. She didn't understand why all these important people were arguing. To her, it had just been a fun puzzle. "Are there more puzzles like this one?" she asked, interrupting the loud debate. The room fell silent. Then, Chairperson Thorlax floated forward. "According to the hologram's information, there are 27 more Zarian artifacts scattered across the galaxy," the blob-like alien said. "Each one contains different parts of their knowledge. And we need children to solve them," Dr. Martinez asked. Professor Vex nodded his four-eyed head. The hologram was clear. The puzzles were designed to be solved by minds that are not fixed in traditional thinking patterns. Children from many species might have this ability. In another part of the Senate station, President Olivia Warren of Earth was waking up to an urgent call. She had been asleep in her quarters when the news arrived. "Madam President," said her advisor, "you need to see this right away." The president watched the recording of Lily solving the puzzle and the appearance of the Zarian hologram. "A child," she said softly. "A human child has changed our place in the galaxy overnight. Every major species is now seeking alliance with Earth," her advisor explained. "They want access to our children, to see if others have the same ability." President Warren frowned. "No one is accessing our children. If this knowledge is to be shared, it must be done safely and fairly." Back in the meeting room, Dr. Martinez was doing his best to protect Lily from the growing demands. "My daughter is not a tool," he said firmly. "She's a 12-year-old girl who needs rest and protection." "But the Zarian technology could advance our civilization by 1,000 years, argued Senator Valder. "Surely you see the importance of this discovery." "I do," Dr. Martinez replied. "But I also see the importance of not overwhelming a child." Lily pulled on her father's sleeve. "Dad, I want to help. If there are more puzzles, maybe I can solve them too." Before he could answer, a new group entered the room. They wore the blue uniforms of Earth's diplomatic corps. "Dr. Martinez, Lily," said the lead diplomat, "President Warren has called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. She requests your presence." "The Council?" Senator Kraz squawked in surprise. "That group hasn't met in person for 50 years. "This situation calls for it," the diplomat said. "The discovery of the Zarian knowledge affects all galactic species. President Warren proposes a joint mission to the Zarian homeworld, with representatives from all major worlds." As they left the room, Lily noticed how aliens who had ignored her father earlier now bowed respectfully to them. Some even tried to touch her hand, as if she had special powers. "Dad," she whispered, "why is everyone acting so strange?" Dr. Martinez smiled sadly at his daughter. "Because you've done something no one thought possible. And now, everyone wants what you found." "Will we go home soon?" Lily asked. "I don't think things will ever be quite the same again," her father answered honestly. "But whatever happens, we'll face it together." As they walked toward the council chamber, Lily saw her face on screens throughout the station. The news was calling her the child who changed the galaxy. All she had done was solve a puzzle, but that simple act had started something much bigger than she could have imagined. 3 months had passed since the day Lily Martinez solved the ancient puzzle. Now she stood by a large window, looking out at a beautiful blue planet below. This was Zolaria, the lost homeworld of the advanced civilization that had created the puzzle. "It's so pretty," Lily said, pressing her hand against the cool glass of the observation deck. Her father joined her at the window. "It is. And to think, no one knew where it was until you solved that puzzle." The space station where they now lived was huge, with people and aliens from 27 different worlds working together. After weeks of meetings, the Galactic Council had agreed that the Zarian knowledge should be shared by all. No single planet or species would control it. "Lily, they're ready for you in Lab 4, said a friendly voice behind them. It was Sam Baker, a young scientist from Earth who had become Lily's friend. "Is it another puzzle?" Lily asked excitedly. Sam nodded. "They found a new one in the ruins yesterday. The other children are already there." This was Lily's favorite part of living on the station. She wasn't the only child here now. The Galactic Council had brought children from many worlds to help with the Zarian puzzles. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had 6 arms or 3 eyes, but they all shared the same ability to see patterns that adults missed. In Lab 4, 5 children from different planets were sitting around a table. In the center was a small cube with moving parts, similar to the puzzle Lily had solved in the Senate. "Lily's here," said Mick, a small green child with large eyes. "Now we can start." The children worked together, each seeing different parts of the solution. To the scientists watching, it looked like they were just playing. But as they played, the puzzle began to change and open. "Look at how they work together," Dr. Martine said to President Warren, who had come to visit the station. "No arguments about who gets credit or who's in charge." The president smiled. "Maybe that's part of the Zolarian plan too, showing us how to work together." Since Lily's discovery, things had changed throughout the galaxy. Earth, once seen as a backwater planet with little to offer, was now respected. Humans were invited to join councils and trade groups that had never welcomed them before. "Dad, look," Lily called out. The puzzle was projecting a new hologram, showing how to build a machine that could clean polluted water in minutes. "Another gift from the Zolarians," Professor Vex said, taking notes quickly. "This will help billions of people on dry worlds." Later that day, Lily and her father walked through the station's garden area. Plants from hundreds of worlds grew together under special lights. "Do you miss home?" Dr. Martinez asked. Lily thought about it. "Sometimes. I miss Grandma and my friends. But I like it here too. It feels important." "It is important," her father said. "Do you understand why?" Lily nodded. "Because we're learning things that can help everyone. And because kids and grown-ups from different planets are working together." A small alarm beeped on Dr. Martinez's wrist. "That's the signal. The council meeting is starting soon." Today was special. For the first time, the children who had been solving the puzzles were invited to speak to the Galactic Council. They would help decide how to use the Zolarian knowledge. As they walked to the meeting hall, Lily saw the original puzzle that had started everything. It was kept in a special case near the entrance of the main hall. She stopped to look at it. It seemed smaller now, less mysterious. But it had changed everything. "Ready?" her father asked, holding out his hand. Lily nodded and took it. Together, they walked into the hall where representatives from across the galaxy waited to hear what a 12-year-old girl from Earth had to say about the future. Sometimes the biggest changes come from the smallest actions. And sometimes the people who see the clearest are those who haven't learned what's supposed to be impossible.